Should I be ready? I can't see you.
Just a second. Yeah.
Good afternoon. We welcome you to the third talk on the Terracotta series, Regional Variations in the Use of Terracotta, the Influences of Local Cultures, Traditions and Conditions. The talk will encompass a 360-degree tour of making of terracotta in India, from different techniques of making and firing of the works and the rituals, functions involved behind making those. Certain factors are pan-Indian, but there are varieties in making or firing techniques from region to region, varied belief systems, rituals, religious practices behind Indian terracotta, both the mundane and sacred, from different parts of the country. And we are very privileged to have with us today Miss Ella Mukherjee. Ella, a very warm welcome to you. She is an art educator and teaches as guest faculty in many art and design colleges in India. She coordinates ceramic workshops that were held in USA, Singapore, and Canada. Presently, her works are on display at the British Council, New Delhi, as part of a group show. Her works are also in many private collections. She's a Fulbright scholar in ceramics. She's an awardee of both junior and senior fellowships by the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. So Ella, welcome again, and I hand over to you. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Manisha, for introducing me and inviting me for this talk. It's my privilege and honor to sort of unravel the stories and narratives behind the terracotta practice in India and the subcontinent. Being a ceramic artist, I will start with the very basic how and what kind of clay we are using when the terracotta goes. So terracotta and Prajapati community. Usually it's the Prajapati colony, Prajapati community, who are the kumhars, who are making even the sculptures and the pots. So it is a very community-based craft, and Prajapatis, they think they have come descended from the main creator, the Prajapati or Vishwakarma. So they are in the social structure. They are not very in the hierarchy, but they are a very important community throughout India for different functional and ritual practices. The terracotta, which is a very, very Indian and South Asian, I would say, medium of craft. And in the previous lectures, we have already known that how old it is. It is the ephemeral quality of terracotta, which is important in social and in ritualistic perspective. We have terracotta like our neighbors like China or Korea or Japan, they are very rich in ceramic. So firstly, it's a very, very easily available material. It's the clay which is used is alluvial oil, soil, which has plasticity. So if I'm teaching somewhere, I always say that, you just can't dig up any clay. It has to have some plasticity to make things. So it's usually the slits at the riverbed which are used for clay craft. And so we don't have the China clay which go into composition of ceramic clay. So, and the firing of it is, local potters, they fire it at 650, 700, and it may be like we do it till 1,000, 950,000. So it has it's very economical to fire terracotta. So one of the reasons why terracotta is very popular in Indian community is the lack of getting good China clay. It's easily available clay which basically has rich iron, and that makes the clay red, and the very indigenous practice of firing the works. It's very inexpensive. It's a local material which is going into. So this is the clay. Potters usually source it from a nearby place. Sometimes they don't want to disclose. Now with rapid urbanization, it's becoming a little difficult, and so they need it with, they get the soil. At some villages there are those sacred spawns from where they get their soils, and they sieve it, take out the stones and other impurities, and soak it in water and just knead it like a dough. And so it can be with foot and or can be with hand. Interestingly, the wheel is a very sacred things in the potters community, and Indian potters, it's the male potters who are doing the wheel work. It's almost not in any community, in any region, women are encouraged to sit on the wheel. It's a very, very male dominated thing. So whenever we are seeing the women doing things, they are doing other way of constructing a pot or constructing a sculptures and decorating it, but definitely not the wheel. And the wheel, we have different kinds. Now, of course, we have this electric wheels and the potters are using, but these are the traditional wheels. So they rotate it for some time with the stick. There is a hole there, so they rotate it, and when it starts spinning, they throw the pot. So it keeps spinning for some time. So these are different parts. Even the basic wheel is different from south, from north. The basic design of the wheel is different, but more or less the technology of running those traditional wheels are that hole, and it spins with that stick. Now, although the women are forbidden to work on the wheel, this is from Bihar. This is the eastern region. There are some festivals where they do worshipping of the wheel, and even today, everywhere this Vishwakarma Puja day, they don't touch the wheel. So that's what they believe in. But for the wedding, the bride's mother gets the bride to do the puja. So even though the potter is in a low rung in the hierarchy of the society, sometimes they are revered because they are sometimes called for the auspicious occasions. So here the woman, the bride has come with the mother, and the potter is holding the thing, and they are doing the puja. So they, in all the auspicious occasions, he plays an important role. Now, as I said, the male, it is the male dominated thing to work on the wheel. The women, they do make pots, and this is a wheel, but this is just sort of a banding wheel, and so they are doing with coils. So they are hand building. So hand building pots are very, very much at vogue all over the country, and it's the women who are doing it. So after they throw, there are different ways of doing it. Like they take a mold and put a roti kind of a thing, and then they that banding wheel they rotate, and with coils they make it bigger. Now here, after the pot is made, they do finishing, and sometimes they do vernishing, or they sometimes do gedi, which is a kind of a soil. It's a natural color which gives that sometimes a rich red. This is from Assam. So this is the mold, and then they put a slab, and then they beat. They rotate and beat and makes it bigger. So it's from Gujarat, and the male who are throwing, and the women do the surface decoration. They make the pots and they do surface decoration. So these are done by the women. South India. So that's what they make, the thing, and then they beat. Sometimes on their lap, or sometimes on the wheel. They rotate things. The earlier were from the East India. This is from the South India. So then they beat and make it thinner. This is from Manipur. Manipur has a very, very rich tradition. Is the women, they are working, and they make it with the coils, and they build it. There was Nilmani Devi, who was very famous for that. So as women take the lead in Manipur, even in pottery, they are the people who are doing the pots. That's Nilmani Devi. So they have a black soil, and they do vernishing. So sometimes with stone, if you smoothen it, it sort of gets smoothened out. So it gets a polish. So it's only in terracotta, when the clay is not fired very high, that varnish, that is polishing off with a stone, or sometimes with the seed of a fruit, it stays. If you go it higher, sometimes it loses. And they paint with the khadiya mitti and kaliya, they call it in North India, with all local white clay and black clay. So they are all minerals or different kinds of colors. They usually paint it. Sometimes they paint it before the firing, sometimes they do it after. And then the kiln. So for a clay person, you just can't do without a kiln. And we see different variations even in different regions of India. So this is a kiln which is pre-built. So it's like a well basically. So they put the works from the top, and this is the fire mouth where they do it with. So the firing material can be sawdust. Usually they put a lot of sawdust or animal dung, this cow dung cakes. So these are one of the kinds of And then this is very, very indigenous. They make a bed of upla or cow dung cakes and then put the works. So it goes for pottery or for figure sculptures. And they put one layer of the upla and one layer of those clay works and again layer it, and then so that's what this person, and then they layer it with sometime haze or some in Rajasthan they are covering it with those dry twigs of the tree. In the Gangetic plain there is plenty of rice, harvesting of rice, so they cover it with rice straws and then they fire, and then at the center they have this chimney which is from where the fire goes. So, and they sometimes use the broken pieces of matkas, the pots, to cover it up. And it's not that all the time you can control much of it, the firing. And they put, for this they put the fire from the thing and it gets slowly fired, sometimes in 4 hours. So this is the mitti ka coating they are putting on the hay, on the hay they have put, the straws they have put, then the plant, they chop the plants and go and this. So that's on the surface level, but sometimes they also do pit firing where they make a cauldron kind of a pit. It's like rounded, and they layer it with cow dung cake and it's similar, but it's not on the surface level. It's in the pit, so it's called pit fired work. And yeah, it's in the well. And we see, and sometimes we ask that how do we get that black terracotta? It's just the smoke. So the smoke comes out in the other kilns. So if you just close it, sometimes they have a sort of a next firing where they just close something and the smoke, that carbon deposit on that gives it that black, and they varnish it, they kind of put a in my ceramic term I will say terracotta, or a very thin wash of clay as a surface which gives that sheen on the product. Now vessels, modern and sacred. We see that this is from Kashmir and Ladakh, like there are different the shapes and forms of the everyday objects change when we do that, and I personally use a lot of things in my day-to-day life, the matkas, the kulhars, the gullak. It's from South India. The shapes just change over. Like kulhar from Odisha, kulhar from Bengal, from Rajasthan. But I will just pick a few distinct styles. This is from Gujarat, from Kutch. And mostly potters of India, they are from the Hindu religion. They are largely Hindu religion. In West and in North, there are small communities who are early converts to Islam. And so this is from Kutch region. The men do the throwing, and the women, they do this intricate patterns. And sometimes we see that Islamic, they are from Muslim community and they are doing this with stripes and dots. They make the very intricate patterns. So this is Kavra pottery from Gujarat, Kutch. They make water bottles, they make lamps, and the women, they do all the, and we can see a distinct Islamic patterns in that. Sometimes we, in other parts, we see the very floral, flowing lines in the potteries. Here in the Kavada pottery, they are very geometric, and they usually make it with stripes and dots. Now coming to Azamgarh, they are also known for their black pottery. They usually varnish the pot very, very well, and not that all the time, but they remind us of also of the Bidri art from Hyderabad, who has this black metallic things with silver inlay. So what they do is that they make the pot and they scratch it with the twigs or some sticks or something, and the fire the works after vernishing, and then they reduce the pot. That means they make it black by oxidation firing and reduction firing. So basically they are firing in a reduction firing when it is becoming black, and after taking that away taking that out from the kiln, they fill with, they make very with mercury and zinc, they make a kind of metal and they press it so it goes inside those inlays and make these patterns. So these are sort of an extension of the Bidri craft from the Hyderabad side. This is UP, Azamgarh, Nizamabad. These are smoke fired. They fire with, as I said, that it's from the Gangetic plain, so they do it with rice husks. To do a series of things. It's the zinc, mercury, lead, so they make a paste kind of a thing and put it and then scrape it off, so the incise undercuts have that thing and they make the pattern like that. So it's the Bidri ware. Then this is Longpi pottery, Manipur. They have this natural wonderful clay and they really varnish their works very well. And this is a distinct from the northeast pottery thing, especially from Manipur. That's Longpi pottery. As I said, then as I'm coming to the mundane, to the ritual use of terracotta, I find that this is very interesting that there are thousands of pots made every day for the Jagannath temple prasadam. So there are potters who are making it and it comes to the temple and the vogs or the offerings of the gods are, so that is, there we are crossing the boundary of everyday object and going to the sort of in the periphery of ritual things. So that's why I put this slide here, that how, and there are thousands of things every day made. And now sometimes I have been asked that whether it's recycled, no, sometimes if it is fired really, really low, so it, with over a long period of time, it goes back to the clay. So it's basically the Indian or Hindu concept of from clay to clay. It's a cycle. It's the creation, destruction, creation. So it's the, but we do have this from Harappan civilizations. We have terracotta, and in lots of villages, if they plow, the farmers find those broken pieces of terracotta. So it's not easily get decomposed. Okay, they don't harm the environment, but yeah, it's not that easily recyclable. It's not that ephemeral, but usually for ritual things, the terracotta pots are required because it is cheap and it sort of goes back to the clay. As I come to the ritual thing, that kalash or ghata, this is like from our, if in the Samshan Ghat during the funeral, Hindu funeral, it's that they break the matka and the ghada, and so it's sort of releasing the spirit of the dead person, or in the auspicious occasions in wedding. So the kalash, they put it water and ghee and other auspicious things and put. Sometimes this is the beginning of, so rather than just worshipping a ritualistic images, idols of a god, the ghatasthapana is done where the spirit of the god or goddesses is sort of brought in that water and it is worshipped. So in lots of temples and shrines, and sometimes they are put outside the house at the entrance as a welcome thing. It's an auspicious welcome at the doorway of Hindu houses, as well as it's there in marriages. In Rajasthan, there are those four corners of, in lots of, in Gujarat, the four corners of the wedding venue, the mandap, where the wedding or the fera or the fire is there. The ghats or kalashs are put and stacked together. It can go to 6 or 9. So that's from Rajasthan. This is from Bengal. So they are part from death or wedding or for any auspicious occasions. Kalash or matka is important. Sometimes they are all fried terracotta, but then they are, earlier it used to be painted with natural colors, but now obviously they are using synthetic colors, unfortunately. So kalash can be a part of the temple, can be part of the household, or can be a part of a shrine. Mostly, so this is a shrine from UP, where and we see this kind of roadside shrines, or some shrines are made. They are very, very local in flavor. They are sometimes at the outskirts of a village, under a peepal tree or under a banyan tree. So they are not a permanent structure like a temple. And I will come to the later when we see how these shrines are important part of the local culture. So even the kalash, it can be in a temple, it can be in a household, or it can be on the roadside shrine. These are terracottas from Bengal, and they are called charas, plates, and they are just plates, but they are put like sort of in the convex direction, and then they are painted and worshipped during Lakshmi Puja. So Shara painting is an important terracotta where we are seeing that how a mundane terracotta plate is coming and getting transformed as a ritual object for the people. This is again a ghat. It's like a pot with a lid, but it is Mansa Ghat in Bengal, they call it. So it's Mansa is the goddess of snakes. So it's again absolutely a functional shape. Is sort of if it is not painted and if it is put in the house, it's just a water pot, but when it is painted and getting worshipped, that the whole thing is getting transformed into a ritual object. So this is again another craft from Bengal where they worship Mansa god. And then in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, in the eastern region, we have this terracotta small sculptures for Diwali and for other things, and diyas. So usually it are the diyas and matkas or ghadas, which are very, very mundane thing, but once they are coming to for ritualistic purpose, they are transforming their things. Again, the Mansa god, and so sometimes it comes with one single imagery of the goddess Mansa, and sometimes there are lots of snakes there. And as I'm saying, this is black is it's the natural smoke. The people use it to blacken the pots. And this is Mansa chal. It is the small. Sometimes they are in small pieces, and so this is a chal, or it's just one single thing, and it's called Mansa chal. So to sort of earlier they were scared of snakes, so it was to appease the goddess Mansa. Or sometimes the local people also think that any kind of poison, if they fall ill, they think that some kind of poison has gone in. So worshipping Mansa Devi will ward off those poisons from their body. So this is terracotta, Mansa chal, and Mansa Ghat and Mansa Diwali. These are very, very ancient crafts. I really enjoyed doing this section of secular and votive sculptures. And so as all of you introduced, have seen the Bankura horse. So, horse and elephants are always a very votive image. Like sometimes this, if they are not being offered to the gods, they are just toys for the children. But sometimes, mostly in all over India, although I'm saying the regional variations are there, but mostly it is the elephant and the horse which are dominating as an offering as a votive and votive sculptures. But the design, the making process are different. So the Bakura horses and horses are always in South Asia. They are power, they are strength. The elephants, they're elegant things. So that's why probably that elephant and horses are dominating, but there are other animals sometimes coming in. But so as I scroll through my slide presentation, you can see how each region is dealing with or working with the same horse or elephants. The proportions are changing. The Bakura horse usually has very long neck and very short leg. It's not realistic, and they have these decorations. And so the elephant also come now. There are few other things which they have to do for commercial purposes. So these are, and these are offered to the local devis at the local shrine. So all of these are usually now votive figures are one thing. They can, rather votive sculptures, one thing that it's like a bargain. If you give me, I wish I have this. If you give me, if that is fulfilled, then I'll be giving you 2 horses or 2 elephants or something like that. And also, like it is a common man's or poor man's substitute for an animal sacrifice. Sometimes they can't do it, so they commission the local potter, and the elephants or horses are made according to the size of what the client has asked, and they leave it under a tree at a shrine, and it with time it sort of melts down and goes back to the thing. So it is sometimes as an offering, sometimes like to ward off bad things, evil spirits, people offer these votive figures. Women again doing the hand building. So these are the horses from Bengal, from Odisha. And sometimes we are overlapping also because they are bordering states. So the West Bengal, western part of West Bengal and Odisha, they have very common things, or western part of Bengal and things, or MP and Gujarat where they are sharing, or MP and Maharashtra where they are sharing borders. So sometimes there is so we can broadly think it's not state wise but region wise. So I would say, but that's from thing, and the whole proportion has changed when we come to Odisha. Bihar. Again, then there is this most important puja of Chhat Puja, where they worship Surya Dev, and so they make that as terracotta Surya Dev riding a horse. They think they are, sometimes they think the local gods will protect, and he will go around the village protecting the people over the horse. So how can they walk around the gods and goddesses? So they need some bahans, they need some mode of transport. So that is also another reason. Like it depends from clans to clans, from regions to region, from tribal people from the other local group. And these are big terracotta horses which are not fired, made for the sun god in Bihar for the Chhat Puja. They will not be fired, so they are really ephemeral. With time they will go back to the soil. UP, the elephant changes, the local shrines, so people, as I have said, they tie things, and they put the things under the thing, under a peepal tree or under a banyan tree. So it can be as figurative as that, or it can be that lump of hump before that elephant, before on the left hand side, that of this image, that left image. It is also a worship. So when you don't have the money even to buy a small terracotta thing, so that is also the votive things are at the shrines are not always figurative. Sometimes they are abstract, like in that lump of clay put before the elephant. MP, a tribal woman, she is worshipping some logs of clay and some small little things. So sometimes they can't buy or commission a local potter. They buy it, they make it on their own. So there are those broken pots. So that's her shrine. So shrine doesn't always mean this elaborate with animals. And this is the MP people. They in near Bhopal, they make this dowel of clay, and Gauri, they make it, and they make this lump of clay and they make dolls. And Gan Gauri ka, they make images and they go for processions. So these are very sort of abstract representations of the gods and goddesses. So Gangauri from Madhya Pradesh. MP? Tribal museums. So yeah, so that's what is interesting, that how stylizations, how proportions are changing from region to region, from belief, practice, but sort of more or less there are tigers, like at Sundarban they Banbivi hoti hai, and then they worship the tiger, the Royal Bengal tiger thing, so they think that Banbivi will be protecting them from the tigers, from the Royal Bengal tigers, so they offer tigers, small tigers. But sort of pan-Indian, the most common votive animals for offerings are elephant and horses. Madhya Pradesh. MP. So it can be as elaborate as the center image, or it can be as minimalized and on the left hand thing. So it can be very, very basic thing. So some of them are actually thrown on so they come as components, as 4 legs. For Makura horse, they make the 4 legs separately, and then they throw the neck, and the face comes by throwing, or sometimes they just pinch and build it. So that one is thrown, and this one is sometimes hand pitched. These are Poshina horses. This is a shrine, and in a field you will see thousands and thousands of these votive horses. People come, it's usually the tribal people, so they offer it to their local gods, and it's MP and Western MP. So Poshina horses are very important votive sculptures in terracotta in India. So Gujarat and that's what I'm saying, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Mulela, Rajasthan. Lot of you know it. It's in Crafts Museum and all. So they make clay relief. Sometimes they make. Now this is a new age thing where they have also introduced trains, rails. So that's interesting. Otherwise, they make on mythologies or local gods and goddesses, the belief systems of tribals. So Mulela from Rajasthan, they make the slab, they make the tiles, and then they build on that hollow. All those things are hollow. So make a hollow clay slab and make it. So they are all hand built. So they make stories of Krishna, mythological figures. And they have this Dharamraj. They are very local, sort of mythical heroes they have. So they make, so that is the clay, and then they put the white paint on it, and then they color it in those vibrant red, yellow, green, blue. Earlier they used to use natural colors, but now they put all synthetic colors. This is the Dharmraj. very, very local tribal sort of god will protect. Next is Ayanar. Everybody, a lot of us know it. So is the Lord Ayanar. So that small little figures, it's the Ayanar sitting with his two consorts in his own own court. And this is, as I have said, that not all the time the votive gods and goddesses are figurative. Sometimes they are representational, abstract. So a common people who probably can't buy or can't commission a big something, so he or she will make this very abstract representation of Ayanar with his two consorts by two sides. So these are abstract sculptures. And the horses and the elephants and the bull. So if you can notice that there are those dividing lines. So they built, and I have taken some from the Crafts Museum now. He was there. So they make these legs, and they are not throwing. So they are on the banding wheel. They are making the cylinders, which are the four legs, and then they build by coiling. Whereas in Bakura, they are mostly using wheel to make the legs. So this is from, and the ornamentation, the decoration is also very, very different from region to region. These are very old painted terracotta horses, Ayanar horses. They are votive animals offered to the shrine for good harvest. Sometimes if somebody falls sick, they think that if the child gets well, we will offer you a horse. Or if there is a childless marriage for a long time, and if the woman gets pregnant, so they are giving a votive animal as an offering. So the reasons are different. They are painted terracotta. Then Odisha, the roof tiles. Yeah, this is Badapalli, West Orissa. They have this parrots and frogs and monkeys and lots of things. They are kind of scarecrow, but they also have that ritualistic, that parrot symbolizes love. Frog, if they put a frog, that will bring good rain. That means good harvest. Monkeys, they are playful, they are frolic, so sometimes they will put monkeys. So, and this like playful, frolic character of it is there. So they put these things on the roof. Am I doing fine with time? Yeah. And then the very common Najar Utaro, or to ward off the evil spirit. We see it everywhere, terracotta and painted. And here it's from Tamil Nadu. It's like a scarecrow, and it's to ward off an evil spirit from the farmland. And then there is a votive horse being offered near the farmland for good harvesting. And this is the Tulsi Sthan in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. They have this Tulsi Sthan, Tulsi Chan from the eastern region, where the people are making it with coils, and they resemble the local temples. If it is in Orissa, they are local temples, or in Bengal, the local temples. They are. It's usually placed near a house, and then they do those images of gods and goddesses, and they decorate with thin coils. So they make the thing. They are big, 2 feet, 3 feet. And it's usually for the Tulsi the basil, the Indian basil, which we all consider auspicious. And this will resemble as that ancient mother goddess or the fertility goddess, which we see that Diksha was telling about that. So I don't know which term after hearing that, but it's mother goddess or it sort of reminds us of those ancient times fertility goddesses. These are very contemporary craft from Bengal, and you can also see it Orissa. So that's from Bengal, how minimalized that thing is, and then how in the same region the elephants and things. This is interesting that clay, terracotta, and then lacquer. They are not painted. There is a coating of lacquer being put in all of them, and yeah. So this is from Bengal. You can see it in Orissa. This is from again from Himachal. Painted terracotta. As I said, that sometimes we play with the toys. The toys, when they go to the shrines, they are becoming religious. Otherwise, it's a common day object. The children at the place. This is a sun-baked clay. Not maybe some of you know from Krishnanagar, we have this sun-baked clay, very, very realistic human figures made, and Bengal Kumartuli, which are not terracotta, but they are important part of clay history. Thank you.
We have time to take maybe 2 questions.
Did
so
I go long? Yeah, it was so vast that it was very difficult for me to sort of. Yeah, please.
Please wait for the mic to reach.
Thank you. You made a very good presentation, very, I think, scholarly work. I have just 2 small questions.
Yeah.
One, you have used the term Bankura. What is the meaning of Bankura exactly? And secondly, you have not covered Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh is a pioneer in this terracotta.
Yes, there is lots of things. That's why I said even I sort of almost ran out of time. Like it is so varied. So if I'm saying MP, yes, Chhattisgarh has, Kerala has. So I have just sort of handpicked some of them. Otherwise, it will be so long. And Bankura horse, it's very interesting proportion of the horses which I have. So I have actually picked up very few regions and sometimes overlapping each other. So when I'm talking about Madhya Pradesh, it's sort of the tribals of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Maybe I have not uttered, but yeah, or Gujarat. Yeah.
I just wonder, do you think this technique and that culture will survive in the modern time?
We are using, these are very because I'm a ceramic artist, and yes, we do throwing, we do coil building, we do slab works, so it has been used. The probably with commercialization, with change of time, things are becoming very commercialized. The basic technique remain the same.
Thank you, Ella. And may I request Member Secretary Dr. Shaden Misra to please give a token of our appreciation. Thank you for sharing behind the scene action of the humble terracotta, a material that has persevered over centuries, and we just hope that the expanding monocultural trends don't encroach into its space. With that, thank you, Ella, once again. And may I invite ladies and gentlemen to please join us for a cup of tea outside. Thank you for coming.